Welcome to the SAICA Biz Impact Podcast, your ultimate business growth platform, where we simplify complex business topics with expert insights, market-relevant trends, and practical advice, all aimed at keeping you ahead of the curve.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SAICA Biz Impact Podcast Show. I am your host, Luncedo Mthwendwe. This is your home where we unpack and simplify complex business topics that affect your business on a day-to-day basis. We will be bringing you the latest business trends and provide you with insights to ensure that you stay ahead of your business game. Our guest today is Tzippy Subotsky, who is a partner at Howard Jewell and Company. And she's actually going to be assisting us to unpack a topic that has an impact on businesses on a day-to-day basis. And that topic is business planning and forecasting. Tzippy, welcome on board.
Thank you, Lou. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Tzippy, we are in an era where number of businesses are starting up, right? We have a number of startups that are growing. And even in big businesses, whenever they're about to scale up, there is a document that is always requested, either by the funder or either by investors. That is a business plan and the forecast, right? Now, that document becomes at the heart of small businesses, and most entrepreneurs do not understand the value that it adds, and why is it still there in 2023. Can you unpack or just simplify for us in terms of why do we still need business plans and forecasting going forward as businesses?
Sure. So the simple answer is that for every decision or process that you want to undertake, whether it be in business or in life, you need a plan. So the business plan, as a simple answer, is that plan. You're documenting what it is that you want to take to market and what it is that you want to sell and where you want to go with it. Yeah. So, it can be as detailed or as simple as you feel it will be in order to tell your funders and your investors what you need from them. Yeah.
I like the point that you just mentioned, in the last part, that it either can be detailed or it can be short. Right. Now you have SME owners that won't know where to go or even where to start to even draft this document. So in the industry out there, what is the standard norm? Are you supposed to have a 50, 70-page document, or else a 10 to 15 or 20-page document is sufficient? What is the standard industry norm out there?
I don't think there is a standard norm. People seem to think bigger is better. And that seems to be something that happens. It doesn't matter whether it's a business plan or it's, anything. The type of clothes that you wear, the louder it is, the better it is. But with having said that, I think a lot of people will take that question to the internet. And they're going to say, Google, ChatGPT, what is a business plan and what do I need to have in that? So I decided I'm going to do that as well when I was preparing for this talk. And I said, Google, give me the answer. What is a business plan? And I got things like strategic summaries, executive summaries, market plans. One other thing that they mentioned was, products and services. So I agree with products and services. If you're going to business, you need to know what you're going to be selling. But when you start having words like executive summary or strategic summary, I'm an accountant and I've been in the industry for 20 years and that freaks me out. So I would like to simplify that. I'd like to say, what exactly do we need and does it have to be lengthy? I personally don't think so. So, to start off with, a well-detailed and comprehensive plan will include different sections for the different parts of what you're trying to show. So, you could have a page a page or two that's going to have a budget. You're going to have a page or two that's going to have the market that you're applying to. So, for example, and I'm going to mention this, I think, a little bit later, a big trend at the moment is the solar industry. So who am I going to be marketing my solar energy to?
Yeah.
So that will be in the business plan.
Yeah.
You know, how is that going to, how am I going to cost it?
Yeah.
So documents showing, so a budget or a cash flow plan showing how I'm going to bring this to fruition
Yeah.
with the funds that I need
Yeah.
should be included.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be very long, but it does have to include your basic needs.
Yeah. So I like what you're saying, because now I'm trying to sit now on the side of an SME owner, and he is drafting a business plan. Do they have to draft the business plan themselves, or else you would suggest that they go to an expert to basically draft the business plan, considering the fact that now you are mentioning that there is AI that can do the business plan for you within a matter of seconds, all right? So what would you advise an SME owner who is about to go and look for funding out there, and this is one of the documents that is at the heart of what will be required before they get funding?
So I think there's a complex answer, which is actually quite simple.
Yeah.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
You can't do the business plan on your own.
Yeah.
You think that you're going to be able to work out the numbers and you'll do the research. You will phone up the importers,
Yes.
and you'll phone up the company in China or India or wherever it is that you're getting your stock from,
Yeah.
or you'll phone up the banks to find out what they need. You will go and research the market. But if you don't have the partnership with yourself knowing your industry,
Yeah.
with your professional accountants,
Yeah.
who know how funding works and how budgeting works,
Yeah.
your marketing specialists who know how to speak to the industry, how to package your business plan nicely.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
your business plan, yes, it can be successful, but it is going to be lacking.
Yeah.
If I can give an example.
Sure.
I have a client who is in the public relations division.
Yeah.
And often he will phone me and he'll say, I'm busy doing a tender, or I'm busy marketing myself or something.
Yeah.
Please will you send me the finances and the cash flow?
Yes.
So what we have decided is I'll give him the numbers, I'll tell him what it has to say, and he will write it. Because as a person in the industry, if I were to write that, I would probably mess it up because I'm not in the PR marketing.
Sure.
But he needs those numbers from me. So I'll put that in the order and he will understand it, because it's very important that whenever you're doing any type of work, so whether it be a business plan or forecast, even financial statements, if you're not speaking the language of the people you're speaking to, you might as well give them a book in Mandarin, because no one's going to understand it, you know. And that partnership works well. He takes my numbers, he puts it into, sometimes I'll give him a graph, he puts it into his document, and everybody understands what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And the same goes for anyone who's not in that kind of industry.
Yes.
You're selling solar, you're selling shoes, you're selling consulting services.
Yeah.
Get into a room with your professionals and your experts.
Yeah.
It may cost you money,
Yeah.
but I think it's money well spent.
I like what you're saying, because one of the issues that I've picked up in the industry is that SME owners won't sometimes understand the value of creating that document and the time that it takes to create that document. Because what you are saying, at the end of the day, they need to breathe life into the document. So it's not just a desktop exercise, but it's a teamwork, all right? Yes. Going to that point, I went to one of the seminars. I picked up one of the investors, especially in the IT industry. The investor alluded into something that was quite interesting. That, look, met the gentleman, the idea was pitched. The only thing he requested was just a forecast. There was no need for the business plan. Now, in 2023, do we still need to do the business plan, or else what we need to be doing now is just the forecast of the idea?
So, yes, we definitely need a business plan.
Yeah.
As I said at the beginning, you can't go into any project without a plan. Imagine an architect trying to build a house, and he doesn't have plans. You know, if you don't start with the foundations and work your way up and you figure out where you want to go, often they start with a picture. You know, taking this analogy of an architect, you're building a building. You have a picture of what it wants to look like. Once you've got that, you can go down to real foundations, which will keep the building standing. And then you can work into it the engineering, the wiring. You take into account whether the ground needs to be supplemented because in the place I used to live, it was a very densely wet place. So if you didn't compact the foundations and make them strong, then the houses were slipping. So it's the same thing with a business plan. You can go and give a forecast and you can say, this is what I want, but without giving a picture of where you're going to, that forecast means nothing.
Correct.
One of the things that you have to really take into account is variables. So forecasts often don't take those variables into account. So, for example, we're living in a very volatile market. And we have to look at foreign exchange. We've got to look at what's going on with the dollar. We've got to look at what's going on with the interest rates. Not just the interest rates in South Africa, but the interest rates globally. You know, if something happens in America or in the United Kingdom or in Ukraine, that's going to directly affect our market. And if you don't take that into account when you are forecasting, you know, you definitely will get a best case and worst case scenario. But if you don't take either of those scenarios, you're having a fairy tale.
Look, that was actually going to be my next question, because as you said, we're living in a global environment, right? And typically the business plan or your forecast would be straight numbers for the next 5-10 years. And the question that usually comes is, how often do you have to update this document? Because everything is volatile. Within 6 months, the country can become upside down. So how often do you have to update this document to ensure that at least it remains relevant with the current conditions that you are living in?
The economy has changed. Okay, so when I think back to when I started, at that time a business plan was great for 5 years. You know, you would look at your business plan, and maybe every year, maybe every second year, you would take a look at it and you'd say, you know, should I tweak this? Should I tweak that? I need to apply for more funding. Should I, you know, what should I take out? What should I put in? In my opinion, I think a forecast should be a flexible document that is looked at every month. I think it should be looked at when you're doing your management accounts. You're not only looking at the past.
I like that.
How did we do in the past? How are we going to do if we continue on this plan? Sometimes, yes, it will stay the same because, you know, while it is volatile, sometimes the market doesn't move that dramatically. But you still have to look at it. So something that I like to highlight is the business plan has to be flexible. You know, so yes, we are going to make it packaged and look nice, and you're going to print it when you take it to the investor or to the bank or to your shareholder or whoever it is that you're presenting it to, or yourself, but you got to have it in a format that can be changed. You know?
So how do you strike that balance in terms of your short-term and your long-term planning? When you're formulating your focused strategies, because as you said, back in the days, long term would be 10 years, 15 years, right? Then short term or medium term would be like, you know, 2 to 3 years. Now there's that balance that you need to strike now in terms of short term planning and long term planning, and how do you strike that balance to ensure that you are not far off from the reality that is happening out there?
So I find that balance hard. As a professional in the industry, helping clients, it's a very difficult one. It's a conversation that one has to have all the time. Keep documented your vision. Always have your vision. You know, Economics 101 or Business Economics 101 when we were back at university, they told us exactly what does a business need, and it was always a mission statement and a vision. That's your long-term plan. Your long-term plan is to make sure that, I don't even know if I would say 10 years time, because things change so dramatically. But I mean, if you would think 5 years ago, there was no COVID. You know?
Different world altogether.
It was a completely different world. Now we're on the other side of 5 years. Everything is virtual. For those people who had their 10-year plans as people sitting in the office for 10 years and they're just going to get better computers, that has completely gone out the window. You still have to keep your vision as to where you're going. So when I was studying also, one of my lecturers
Yeah.
said, when you go into the bathroom in the morning, make sure that you've got CASA written on the mirror so that
Yes.
you know where you're going,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
And I think that you don't have to put it into the bathroom, obviously, but put it into your boardroom, put it into your office, put it onto your computer as your screensaver.
Yeah.
This is where I want to be. A lot of my clients come to me and say, in 5 years' time, I want to be able to sell the business.
Correct.
For this amount of money. This is how much I
When I
want
cash
to
out,
be worth.
yeah.
You know, keep that in mind
Yeah.
because that's where we're working towards.
Yeah.
Your short-term, your 12-month plan, your 6-month plan is something that you're going to be working with. I don't even think on a monthly basis. I think on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Your long-term goal, you've got to constantly compare that. And if after 6 months, a year, it's no longer looking like it's going in the same direction, like there's a fork,
Adapt.
at that one point you adapt and you rethink it.
Yeah.
But as I said in your previous question,
Yeah.
it's a continuous conversation.
Correct,
You don't just look at the long term and you don't just look at the short term.
Yeah. As a CA, can you explain to us in terms of how do you assist in developing these comprehensive business plans and setting realistic business goals? Is it only CA that has that skill, or else even other professionals can assist in relation to that? So I'm trying to think now as an SME owner, I need to create this document for me. My first point of contact is the CA, all right? So how do you add that value in that process?
Okay, so a CA is very lucky.
Yeah.
Part of our training, part of our experience is exposure to different kinds of businesses.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we are approached, we have got a wealth of experience, not only in the business that you're going into, and it can be the fact that it's a brand new concept that the world has never seen before.
Yeah.
But there's also nothing new under the sun.
Sure.
So we know, we've experienced how the challenges and the risks in the past are not going to be that different to the challenges and risks of the future.
Yeah.
So often a CA can be your only port of call.
Yes.
However, sometimes you may have to bring somebody else in.
Yeah.
If you are going into the insurance business, for example, a lot of my valuations, my husband's an actuary.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of my valuations, I often ask him to just give it a glance over because actuaries are very good with
In that particular
they're very experts. They know how to model and forecast on risk.
Correct.
So I often will ask him for that. And accountants are experts in getting professional opinion.
Yeah.
We are excellent in what we do. We're also excellent in knowing where we need help.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it's help because we are weak.
Yeah.
We just know that in order to give a robust opinion or a robust product,
Collaborate.
we have to collaborate.
Yeah.
So whether it's collaborating with other accountants or
Yes.
collaborating with other professionals of different kinds, often that's a good idea. For the business owner to go to a chartered accountant, he's going to the collaboration. So he can, I mean, if he wants to, or she, or they, want to come in and bring in their professionals, the professionals will have to work together.
Yeah.
Chartered accountants have no problem, in my experience, working together to create a holistic plan for the business.
So in a nutshell, with what you're saying, considering the fact that to come up with this plan, it's not only one person
Yes.
who actually going to draft the document, but the number of players that should be involved. And one of my particular worry, and I know that's a struggle of the SMEs as well, would be the pricing around or paying of these services. Because at the end of the day, to them, you're not bringing the product. It's just a document. You're not a cost of sale in a nutshell. So how do you get to a situation where the SME owner understands the value of this document that it will bring to their business and be able to pay as well a fair amount? That is not too exorbitant, and of course that is not too cheap as well.
Yes, it's a very good question, and it's something that I'm really glad that you raised.
Yeah.
There's a few different models
Sure.
that one can do. If you're going to go with the version that I like, which is that a business plan is a continuous plan.
Yeah.
I would say that enter into a retainer or into a subscription plan with your service provider, with your chartered accountant.
Yes.
Because you will know then that they've got the software, they've got the skills, they've got the information at hand all the time.
Yeah.
We're living in a world of cloud accounting.
Yes.
And the way that things have been created now is that everything integrates. So if I'm using a certain product, I like to use Xero for my accounting. Xero integrates, and I know that a lot of the other accounting softwares also integrate with other products that can help you to formulate forecasts, whether it be a huge document. I created a very nice document a little bit recently with another product.
Sure.
It was beautiful, great software, but there's also continuous software that as accountants we partner up with quite a few. There's quite a few. I use Swift Analytics, but there's also Spotlight Reporting, and there's also Futurely, and there's quite a few where they integrated with your accounting software in order to pull and create reports. You can put in the variables and it will create it for you. So the investment, you said it's not a cost of sale, it's an investment in your business. It's a hard cost. Make sure that, just like you are going to make sure that if you are going to have legal issues, and it doesn't mean that you're going to go into litigation.
Correct.
But creating a business, often you need to figure out the legal structure and how you're going to deal with departments in the environment. You're going to make sure that you get a lawyer, and you're not going to mind paying the lawyer because you're seeing it as an investment. Finding an accountant or a chartered accountant or an AGA who is sufficiently experienced in that, it should be priced, I think, on a subscription base. However, not everybody can do that. You're starting up, you've got an idea, you have no funds. There are startup costs, startup prices that a lot of accounting firms offer. So I do know that there are accounting firms that don't want to look at the startups because
they don't want to pay. They can't pay.
They can't pay that kind of fee.
Negotiating,
and it's a decision that I'm sure that you've made in your firm and we've made in our firm. At what point do we take that? But we have startup fees. We've got startup prices, and I think that an accounting firm that is a full service, not as niched as some of the others. We're not the big four. We give prices that allow for you to grow, and as you grow, our prices will grow with you, but so will our value add, and so will our services.
I like that, because that's one of the points that I usually highlight to business owners, that it's a journey. All right, if you've got a business idea that makes sense, you can get accountants or even experts that will give you very fair pricing, as long as there is an idea and understanding that we will grow together. Not that now when you're big, you dump us and then you go to the big companies that are out there that can provide the services for you. But as long as that there is that mutual understanding, and then you grow with the firm. Because the moment they grow with you, there is a proper value exchange, and that's where you're going to be able to recoup as well your fees, because they would have seen the value that you have provided to them at a very early startup phase as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And while we're talking about prices, there seems to be like a misunderstanding that it's a grudge. So I will just pay you for your compliance work. But they don't see that the value that you can give with all these other services, the forecasting, the planning, the management meetings that you have on a monthly basis, which will help you grow. It's not just time, it's because time doesn't have a value. People don't value time. In today's world of social media, time goes out the window when you're scrolling through TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. But the value that you're given, those are the businesses that you want to grow with. And at the end of the day, when you look back 2-3 years down the line, you've become partners. There's an investment from both sides into both businesses. So
Tzippy, before we are getting to the end of our show, And I would like if you can unpack to us, some of the common mistakes or sort of like challenges, that business often make when they're thinking about this process of business planning, or even to create this master document or create the forecast. So what are some of the mistakes that they usually make that you can advise some of the SMEs in order to make around the process?
Okay. Money in the bank
Yeah.
is not profit.
Correct.
Profit doesn't mean you have money in the bank.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest mistake.
We fight with clients on day to day
Yes.
about that. Someone's going to say, you've made $1 million. They're going to be like, that money is not in the bank.
Yes, where's the money?
Yeah,
Where did
where's
the money go?
Yeah, where's the money go?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've made R1 million profit,
Yeah.
you have to pay 280,000 Rand in tax. But I don't have that.
Correct.
How can you say such a thing?
Yeah.
So that's the first mistake.
Yeah.
People equate profit with cash.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've always said, and we don't do this, but I think that the financial statements should always start with the cash flow, because that's what people see. But profit is what helps give value to your business. So knowing that there's profit can help you plan your cash.
Yeah.
That's the first mistake. The second mistake is people forget to plan the tax.
Oh, yes.
Tax
Yes.
in all its different formats
Yeah.
have to take lines of your cash flow forecast. They have to have a paragraph as a variable inside your business plan.
Yeah.
You've got to account for the fact that every time you make a sale, 15% of that sale
VAT.
is to be put away for VAT.
Yeah.
So those are very common mistakes.
Yeah.
Paying salaries,
Yeah.
I'm paying you a salary of 30,000 Rand
Yeah.
a month.
Yes.
Have I taken into account that I have to take off the PAYE, that there's SDL, there's UIF that has to get paid.
Yeah.
There's workman's compensation the minute you've got staff.
Yeah.
Are people taking that? I don't think people take that into account. People forget about that. So that's...
And SARS is very active right now in terms of collections, right? Yeah.
Very active in terms of collections.
Yeah.
And you really have to be aware that sometimes you can be right in your assessment and SARS is going to fight with you. You've got to be aware that often there's going to be time and money invested in sorting those things out. So that's, I think that for every small business owner in this country, they have to take that into account.
Correct.
They have to take into account volatility of interest and foreign exchange. And they have to take into account volatility in market. I mentioned solar.
Yes.
Think back to 2 years ago when suddenly there was absolutely no need for, I don't know, rotisserie chicken. But there was need for masks and sanitizer. But now, 3 years down the line,
no longer.
I actually walked into a spa the other day, and there in the front they were trying to get rid of their masks. So they're trying to sell them off. But there's no market for that. So people who invested in bringing in amazing masks, yes, there's a little bit of a market, but not to the same extent. You've got to take that into account. Solar energy is huge at the moment. But there are people who invested in generators. Remember when the generators were a huge thing?
Yes.
Yes. Are those companies taking into account that there's still maintenance, that the diesel price has gone crazy?
Changes,
So if you don't have an open mind and flexibility, those are the mistakes that can really impact your business plan.
No, those are very good nuggets. Those are very good nuggets, Tzippy. And I think before we get to our closing section, I'd love to know about your business briefly in terms of what are some of the services that you are offering to SMEs out there.
Okay, so we've got an interesting history. My business was started by my dad in 1996. And I joined him in 2003. I've been there for, it's now 20 years.
2 decades.
2 decades, that's right. Started off as a traditional accounting firm, offering the accounting, the auditing, the tax services that came with the maybe once a year, maybe twice a year advisory.
Lots of box jobs that you're doing.
A lot of box jobs. A lot of, we'd get one of those like hard discs. You remember those little square hard discs? And we'd put it in and we'd attach it to our software, and we'd be able to create work. And it was very important to make sure that when you handed over your financial statements pack, you would have a meeting in either their boardroom or your boardroom. You would take a long time to discuss it. It would be a 3-hour meeting. And we've pivoted from that. So we are now offering all the advisory services that are needed from a high level. But we're also offering whatever is needed for the small and emerging businesses. So we assist with registrations with the CIPC. We assist with registrations for tax. We've got a bookkeeping department where we do monthly bookkeeping for clients. We have on occasion helped with banking. Not the most fun job, but it's something that we do. We've got a very good payroll department. So whatever you think of that a business needs, we provide management accounts. We are busy creating a really great reporting program and a reporting process that gets emailed to the client every month. And for people who want just the minimum, we offer that. For people who want an extensive package, we offer that. We do audits. We do independent reviews. So if there's anything that we don't do and you come to us and say, this is what we need, we will research it to see if it's something that we can provide, or we give, we refer on to those places. That
you're no longer just an accounting firm, but you're more now a business advisor firm.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, it's no longer only just about the numbers, but advisory as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my last question before we close off would be, what is takeaway point that you want our listeners to take from the discussion around business planning and forecast?
The key takeaway, I would say, is don't be scared. Because when people Google, they get scared. Be open to taking on partners. Be open to negotiate. At the end of the day, we're living in a world where this is what's so wonderful about South Africa. We want everyone to succeed. If you come to me straight out of university and say, I want to open this business, I'll believe in your business and I will help you get there. So find a service provider that you can be comfortable with. And who can literally hold your hand while advising you through it. Don't do it alone. We're not meant to do that. It's a journey. It's a journey. Exactly. Exactly. So don't be scared. Be prepared to pay a little bit of money.
Don't be too stingy. Don't
be too stingy.
It's an investment at the end of the day, right?
One of my sayings that I've always had, and I still believe in it, although sometimes it scares me too, is sometimes we have to spend a little money to make a little money.
It's an investment. All right. Tzippy, thank you so much. You've heard it yourself, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a topic. It's been a discussion. I hope you've had your points that you've taken. I hope you've taken some of the tips that has been shared and you're going to implement them in your business. But more than anything else, there are no quick wins, as you have said, Tzippy. Is that as much as you find people out there in the tech world raising funding within a short space of like a second, however, you still need to work in your business, put the documents in place, put the processes in place. That's it from me, Lungatum Trendwe. See you on the next one.
The SAICA Biz Impact Podcast is proudly brought to you by SAICA, committed to growing impactful businesses in collaboration with our SAICA accredited practitioners. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and visit our website for more valuable resources.